Now, September 15th marks the first anniversary of the signing of the historic Abraham Accords, the normalization agreement. It was first signed between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and was soon joined by Bahrain, Sudan and Morocco. So how did these accords come about? And what does it mean for the future of the region? Earlier, I sent in this report.
Since the establishment of modern-day Israel in 1948, the Arab states have rejected its existence. The three no's: no peace with Israel, no recognition and no negotiations were the policy of the Arab world for decades.
After decades of division and conflict, we mark the dawn of a new Middle East.
However, 1 year ago today, we witnessed history with Israel's then Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, UAE's Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and Bahrain's Foreign Minister Abdulatif bin Rashid Al Zayani joining then President Trump at the White House. Together, they signed the first normalization agreement between Israel and an Arab country in over 25 years. Just 1 year later, now half of the Arabs across the world live in states that recognize Israel. And before he left office, former President Trump indicated that several more countries were willing to sign the accords. The Abraham Accords were named after the biblical Abraham to emphasize the shared origins of both Judaism, the main religion in Israel, and Islam, the main religion of the Arab world. For the people, these agreements have already had a positive impact, from direct flights and flourishing tourism to new friendships and business deals. Let's take the diamond trade as one example. From non-existent or covert relations between traders in Israel and the UAE, trade is now beginning to boom. Dubai had $21.2 billion worth of diamonds traded last year, and Israel had around $12 billion. The two countries are the Middle East's main diamond centers, and the prospects for business together are enormous. I spoke with Joe Eshkenazi, an Israeli diamonds trader with Divine Diamonds, which has started trading with the UAE, about what the Abraham Accords means for him personally and his business.
Now with the Abraham Accord, it's become a lot easier. Import and exports are possible. Direct flights, banking services are all possible today. And I think that our future is extremely bright.
So what has been achieved on the wider trade front? Firstly, the UAE. In just 1 year, Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics has reported over $570 million in business with the UAE, with the Associated Press reporting 25 agreements being signed in over 15 sectors. Israel's finance ministry expects business to reach $1 billion by the end of 2021 and $6.5 billion by 2025. Moody's Investors Service has valued Israeli exports to the UAE at $300 to $500 million a year and predicts UAE investments in Israel could reach $350 million a year. Secondly, Bahrain. Many collaborations between Bahrain and Israel have been announced. The two countries are cooperating in the oil and gas, logistics, information and cybersecurity, technology, manufacturing, financial services and healthcare, education, travel and tourism sectors. In January 2021, the National Bank of Bahrain signed MOUs with Israel's two largest banks. In March, Bahrain signed a $3 million agreement with Israeli national water company Mekorot to share knowledge and technologies, and initiatives have also started between medical centers in the two countries. These are big deals and big numbers, but what does it mean for peace across the region?
Now, on the 15th of September, as well as being the anniversary of the Accords, this evening is also the start of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which is the holiest festival in the Jewish calendar and a time for reflection on the past year. As far as the Abraham Accords are concerned, the reflection and expectations for the coming year will certainly be positive. This is Jodie Cohen from the Diamond Exchange, Ramat Gan, for WION World is One.